This is a rough translation from the official visit to the President of the Italian Republic, His Honor Sergio Mattarella, in the address of His Holiness Pope Leo XIV in Quirinal Palace on Tuesday, October 14, 2025. Mr. President, I thank you for your kind words and for the invitation to come here to the Quirinal, a place so closely linked to the history of the Catholic Church in the memory of numerous popes. As Bishop of Rome and Primate of Italy, it's significant for me to renew with this visit the strong bond that unites the See of Peter to the Italian people whom you represent within the framework of the cultural bilateral relations that exist between Italy and the Holy See, steadfastly marked by the sincere friendship and effective mutual collaboration. It was, after all, a happy union rooted in the history of this peninsula and in the long religious and cultural tradition of this country. We see signs of this, for example, in the countless churches and bell towers that dot the landscape, often true treasure troves of art and devotion in which the innate creativity of this people, combined with its genuine and solid faith, has left a testimony of such beauty. Artistic, certainly, but above all, moral and human. I take this opportunity of our meeting to express the Holy See's heartfelt gratitude for what the Italian authorities have done and continue to do on the occasion of various challenging ecclesial events centered in Rome and of a universal resonance. I would particularly like to express my gratitude for the efforts made at various levels following the death of my venerated predecessor, Pope Francis. Right here at the Quirinale, he said, quote, "My roots are in this country," end quotes. That's from Pope Francis' address during the official visit to the President of the Italian Republic, June 10th, 2017. And certainly his love for the Italian land and people found a touching and warm response in those days, which has also manifested in the great and thoughtful commitment he made during the subsequent conclave for the election of the new Pope. I would once again like to express my heartfelt thank you to you, Mr. President, and to the entire country for the beautiful example of hospitality, as well as efficient organization that Italy has been offering for months during the unfolding of the Jubilee year in various aspects: logistics, security, preparation, and management of infrastructure and services, and much more, opening its arms and showing its hospitable face to the many pilgrims who flock here from every part of the world. The Universal Church is celebrating the Jubilee of Hope. Pope Francis in the bull Spes non confundit, with which he announced it in May 2024, underlined the importance of, quote, paying attention to the great good that is present in the world so as to not fall into the temptation of thinking that we are overwhelmed by evil and violence, end quote. That's from Article 7. I think that the beautiful synergy and collaboration that we're experiencing these days already constitutes a sign of hope for all those who come with faith to cross the holy door and pray at the tombs of Peter and the apostles. In a few years, we will celebrate the centenary of the Lateran Pacts. All the more reason in this regard, I feel it right to reiterate the importance of the mutual distinction between these spheres. For this, in the climate of cordial respect, the Catholic Church and the Italian state collaborate for the common good in the service of the human person whose inviolable dignity must always be paramount in decision-making processes and in action at all levels for social development, especially for the protection of the most vulnerable and needy. To this end, I praise and encourage the mutual commitment to base all collaboration on and in full respect for the Concordat of 1984. As is sadly evident, we live in times when, alongside many signs of hope, there are many situations of grave suffering that are affecting humanity worldwide and require urgent and far-sighted responses. The first commitment that, in this regard, I would like to recall is that for peace. Numerous wars are devastating our planet, and looking at the images, reading the news, listening to the voices, meeting the people who are painfully affected by them, the words of my predecessors echo loud and prophetic. How can we forget the irrefutable yet ignored warning of Pope Benedict XV during the First World War? There he's referencing his letter to the leaders of the belligerent peoples, August 1st, 1917. And on the eve of the second, that of Venerable Pius XII in his radio message to governments and peoples in the imminent danger of war on August 24th, 1939. Let us look at the faces of those overwhelmed by the irrational ferocity of those who mercilessly plan death and destruction. Let us listen to their cry and remember with St. Paul, Pope John the 23rd, that, quote, every human being is a person, that is a nature endowed with intelligence and free will, and therefore is the subject of rights and duties which flow immediately and simultaneously from his very nature. Rights and duties which are therefore universal, inviolable, and inalienable, end quote. That's from his encyclical letter Pacem in Terris, April 11, 1963, Article 5. I therefore renew my heartfelt appeal to continue working to reestablish peace in every part of the world and to increasingly cultivate and promote the principles of justice, equity, and cooperation among peoples, which are its indispensable foundation. There is referencing St. Paul VI's message for the celebration of the First World Day of Peace, January 1st, 1968. In this regard, I express my appreciation for the Italian government's commitment to addressing many situations of hardship linked to war and poverty, particularly the children of Gaza, also in collaboration with the Bambino Gesù Hospital. These are strong and effective contributions to building a dignified, peaceful, and prosperous coexistence for all members of the human family. To this end, the shared commitment that the Italian state and the Holy See have always shown and continue to show in favor of multilateralism certainly benefits. This is a very important value. The complex challenges of our time, in fact, make it more necessary than ever to seek and adopt shared solutions. Therefore, it's essential to implement these dynamics and processes recalling the original objectives, aimed primarily at resolving conflicts and fostering development. There he's referencing Pope Francis' encyclical letter Fratelli Tutti, Article 172, promoting transparent language and avoiding ambiguities that can provoke divisions. There he's referencing Pope Francis' address to the members of the Diplomatic Corps on January 9th, 2025. We prepare to celebrate in the coming year an important anniversary, the 8th centenary of the death of St. Francis of Assisi, patron saint of Italy, on October 3rd, 2026. This offers us the opportunity to emphasize the urgent issue of caring for our common home, in quotes. St. Francis taught us to praise the Creator with respect for all creatures, launching his message from the, quote, geographical heart, end quote, of the peninsula, and bringing it down through the generations to us, through the beauty of his writings and the witness of himself and his brothers. For this reason, I believe that Italy has received in a special way the mission of transmitting to its peoples a culture that recognizes the earth, quote, as a sister with whom we share our existence, and as a beautiful mother who welcomes us into her arms, end quote. That's from Pope Francis' Laudato Si, Article 1. In recent decades, as we know, Europe has witnessed a significant decline in the birth rate. This requires a commitment to promoting family-friendly choices at various levels, supporting their efforts, promoting their values, and protecting their needs and rights. Father, in quotes, mother, in quotes, son, daughter, grandfather, in quotes, and grandmother, in quotes, are, in the Italian tradition, words that naturally express and evoke feelings of love, respect, and dedication, sometimes heroic, to the good of the domestic community and therefore to that of society as a whole. In particular, I would like to emphasize the importance of ensuring all families the essential support of dignified employment under fair conditions and with attention to the needs of motherhood and fatherhood. Let us do everything we can to give confidence to families, especially young families, so that they can look to the future with serenity and grow in harmony. Within this framework, we see the fundamental importance at every level of respecting and protecting life, in all its stages from conception to old age up to the moment of death. There he's referencing Pope Francis' address to the Plenary Assembly of the Pontifical Academy for Life, September 27, 2021. I hope that this awareness will continue to grow, also with regard to the accessibility of medical care and medicines according to each person's needs. I express gratitude for the assistance this country offers with great generosity to migrants who increasingly knock on its doors, as well as commitments to the fight against human trafficking. These are complex challenges of our times from which Italy has never shied away. I encourage you to always maintain a lively attitude of openness and solidarity. At the same time, I would like to emphasize the importance of constructively integrating those arriving into the values and traditions of Italian society so that the mutual gift that takes place in this encounter of peoples truly enriches and benefits everyone. In this regard, I emphasize how precious it is for each of us to love and communicate our own history and culture with its signs and expressions. The more we serenely recognize and love who we are, the easier it is to encounter and integrate others without fear and with an open heart. In this regard, there is a certain tendency these days to undervalue at various levels the models and values that have developed over the centuries that shape our cultural identity, sometimes even attempting to erase their historical and human relevance. Let us not disdain what our ancestors experienced and what they passed on to us, even at the cost of great sacrifices. Let us not be captivated by massifying and fluid models, which promote only a semblance of freedom, only to make a people dependent on forms of control such as passing fads, commercial strategies, or otherwise. And then it says, see Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, homily at the Mass for the election of the Roman Pontiff, April 18, 2005. Cherishing the memory of those who came before us, treasuring the traditions that have been made us what we are, is important for looking to the present and the future with awareness, serenity, responsibility, and a sense of perspective. Mr. President, in conclusion, I would like to express my warmest wishes for every success to you, through you, to all the Italian people. Italy is a country of immense wealth, often humble and hidden, and therefore sometimes needs to be discovered and rediscovered. This is a wonderful adventure I encourage all Italians to embark on, to draw hope from it and confidently face present and future challenges. Thank you.